What is going on, and welcome back to another episode of iCoach Nutrition Radio. Today's topic that we're going to dive into is why you should not wait to start working towards your goals for 2023, right? You do not need to wait until January 1st, right? It is literally November 28th as I'm recording this podcast right here. It'll probably be released here November 29th, 30th, something like that. All right, but you have a whole entire month essentially before the new year, before we kick off 2023, right? And this is the time of the year as we start rolling into January where it's like new year, new me, right? These New Year's resolutions, which are all great. I love it. I mean, the motivation is extremely high during this time of the year. So let's take advantage of that, right? Not here in December. Motivation is typically pretty low now, but once we hit January, right? But the reality of it is look, you could be a month, right, ahead if you start now versus waiting until January, right? I mentioned this in the last podcast, but here's the stats, right? From October 31st, Halloween, all the way until January 1st, New Year's Day, Americans on average gain 15 pounds. 15 pounds. I mean, that, right? Mind blowing. 15 pounds. Right. And the reality of it is everybody talks about the holidays and they all get caught up about the holidays, but it's not just Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. It's not just 6 days. And obviously I realize that not everybody celebrates the same holidays, but for me personally, right? 6 days, right? 6 days does not make somebody gain 15 pounds, right? But what can make people gain 15 pounds is 60 days. Right? From October 31st to January 1st, about 60 days, 2 months, right? You can definitely gain 15 pounds in 2 months, right? So here's what I'll kind of challenge you with as we're coming, this week here after Thanksgiving, right? Do not be another statistic. Do not sit here and gain 15 pounds during the holiday season, only to then do some crazy fad diet, some cleanse, some detox, some whatever, as soon as January gets here, just to try to combat and lose the 15 pounds that was just gained, right? And maybe your goals aren't even just weight loss related. Obviously, this is a nutrition podcast, and the majority of people that come to work for me with their nutrition is because they've gained weight, right? But regardless of what your goals are, whether they are weight loss goals, or whether you have these goals here in life, right? I always like to break down my goals for the New Year's as faith, family, fitness, and finances. And I set goals in all 4 of those pillars. I've been doing that this way for probably the last 5 years now, right? And I don't just break that down and write out pillars of those goals. I actually write a letter to my future self, something I look forward to every single year. I'm excited to open it up this year, right? I'll kick things off here in that last week of December, getting to read the letter that I wrote to myself a year ago, right? And that letter is a letter that I'm writing to my future self and who is the person that I want to become, right? And so I'm going to get a very, very honest assessment of where am I currently at versus where I wanted to be, right? There's going to be some things that I accomplished, some things that I didn't, and that's fine. But that's the part of goal setting that life is all about, right? Working towards becoming the best version of you, working towards reaching your God-given potential in life, right? It's all, I mean, you have one life to live, right? You have one opportunity. Don't waste it. The worst thing in the world is regret, right? So we don't want to have regret at the end of our lives. So with that said, please, 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 I beg of you, do not wait. If you have goals right now that you want to accomplish for 2023, don't wait. You have a month. You have a month before you get to 2023. You could be a month ahead in terms of working towards accomplishing your goals if you will do that, right? If you will just take that next step, if you'll just take action, if you'll start going all in on you. And that's ultimately the difference in you accomplishing your goals in 2023 versus not, right? Is having that mindset shift happening now. And that's why I'm recording this podcast. If I could just influence even one person who's listening to this podcast to start taking action on their goals now, right? So that they can accomplish their goals sooner in the new year, boom, this podcast was 100% worth my time, right? And just as a reminder, I don't get anything out of doing these podcasts, right? I mean, I'm literally 250 episodes in. I don't have some crazy big podcast that gets all these listens and all these downloads, and I'm monetizing this and making all this money from a podcast. All right, I literally make $0 from this podcast. I do this podcast out of pure joy, right? My clients, obviously, that I work with one-on-one, they enjoy it, right? That's a big part of it, right? This iCoach Nutrition Radio is dedicated towards my company, iCoach Nutrition. But there are, there are other people that listen to this podcast too that aren't my one-on-one coaching clients. And so, this is more just a passion project than anything, right? Maybe I'm a little stubborn in the fact that I just don't want to stop doing it because I've been doing it now for 3+ years, maybe even longer than that, four years now, maybe. I started my company back so this February will be 5 years since I started my company. 5 years, right? So that's a huge accomplishment, milestone in and of itself, right? But that all started with a goal, right? That started with a goal a long time ago. And I've just been working towards, improving day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, right? And it's really no different than maybe your goals with weight loss or, feeling better, looking better, performing better, whatever the goals are, or whatever the life goals are, right? But at the end of the day, you just have to start. You got to stop waiting until the right time, the perfect time, because there's never going to be the right time. I learned that with kids. I learned that with marriage. I learned that with starting a business. I've learned that so many times in my life. There's never going to be the right time, the perfect time to start. You just got to start, right? I always say, it's not about don't have the mindset of like ready, aim, fire. Have the mindset of fire, aim, ready, right? Just start, because you are going to screw up. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to start and stop. It's not going to be perfect ever, right? But you just keep chipping away, you just keep putting in the work, you keep being consistent, right? And eventually you get to where you want to be, right? But there's going to be a lot of different pivots along the way. There's going to be ups and downs. It's kind of like the graphics you've probably seen of we think it's going to be this straight and narrow path, and ultimately it's like all over the place, right? There's ups and downs and sideways and crisscross and diagonals, and right, it's not a perfect path to accomplishing your goal. So my encouragement for you with this podcast, I'm going to keep this very short, is you have about a month or so before 2023. 2023. I mean, it's kind of mind blowing, honestly, thinking about it. Don't take this time for granted, right? You absolutely can still enjoy this time of the year and holiday season and all of that with your family and friends and coworkers and all. You absolutely can do all that stuff, right? But start thinking about your goals now. What are the goals that you want to accomplish in 2023? Right? Don't wait until the new year to start thinking about that. Start thinking about them now. Start writing them out on a whiteboard or in your notebook or in your journal or in your phone or wherever, right? Start planning for the new year. Start getting into a proactive approach now, right? Because I always say failure to plan is planning to fail, right? Learn that from the great Winston Churchill. So that'd be my challenge for you. That'd be my encouragement for you. Don't wait until the new year to start working towards your goals. All right. Get started now. Start thinking about it now. Start planning now. Start being proactive now. Start taking action now. Right? You don't know if you'll have this time. Things happen. Life happens. Right? So don't take this time for granted. Start taking action now. And who knows what you'll be able to accomplish there in the new year. Maybe even sooner than you thought. But you've got an extra month right now. You've got a 13-month year ahead if you start now. Don't waste time. All right, guys. Hope you all have an amazing day. Thank you for listening as always and cheering for you in 2023. I hope you accomplish every goal that you set out for yourself. If I can ever be of assistance, anything on the nutrition training, lifestyle coaching side of things here, please let me know. Always here to help, always here to add value. If you want to schedule something, I do, I start things off with a free nutrition consultation all the time here. So there's no pressure, there's no strings attached. If you want to schedule something, we can definitely do it. Reach out to me there on any of the social media platforms. And if you do want to work together, if you've been thinking about a nutrition or fitness goal that you want to accomplish, then absolutely, let's do it. Definitely have some spots available here. January is a very busy time though, so things are definitely going to kick up. So again, don't wait. right? If we can get started now here in December, there's a much bigger likelihood of us being able to start working together now versus having to push things off here until, February, because there's such an influx there in January. So, all right, guys, have an amazing day. Let me know if you need anything as always, and cheers to the Monday after Thanksgiving. Obviously, you're listening to this a few days after that, but hope y'all have an amazing holiday season. We're coming up on the best time of the year, Christmas. For those of you that love Christmas out there, let me know. My kids and I, having kids, that allows me to really relive all these childhood memories. So we've just been enjoying all the Christmas festivities, and we plan to still continue to do that every single weekend as we move forward. It's also snowboarding season. So for those of you that know, I absolutely love snowboarding. We're actually doing our first snowboarding trip a week from Friday. So I'm super excited for that. And yeah, that's all I got. Have an amazing day. Appreciate y'all. And yeah, cheers 2023. Let's get it.